Monday, high pressure shifts to the east of the forecast area, allowing shortwave troughs to move through in the evenings with strong to severe storms. This activity will start on the 4th of July, possibly interrupting fireworks. Highs will be in the mid-80s to around 90. This is meteorologist Chris Romick at the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Where is the best place to go to stream your favorite NWKS radio station? NWKSradio.net. Where should you go to find out what's happening in the area? NWKSradio.net. What's happening with local area sports? NWKSradio.net. Is the weather causing delays or cancellations? NWKSradio.net. Need tickets to the next big NWKS radio event? NWKSradio.net. The place to go to be in the know. NWKSradio.net.
Summer deals are heating up at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Right now, get up to $7,000 off a brand new 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Pro. Or choose 0% APR for 36 months plus no payments for 90 days on select 25 Sierra 1500s. Need more muscle? Drive off in a 25 Sierra 3500 with 3.9% APR for 48 months. Or grab $2,750 select market purchase allowance. GMC Professional Grade. These offers won't last. Swing by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today. Online at hurlchev.com.
Spring is in full swing at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Get your lawn and garden looking their best with Ultimate Fertilizer and gear up with Eco blowers and mowers for the season ahead. Tackling a project, they've got a surplus of quality lumber ready for all your building needs. And when the work's done, fire up the fun with their wide selection of grills, smokers, and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Stop by Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring projects, big and small.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
When you work hard, make sure you have a service that works hard for you. With reliable coverage and the latest devices, you can go farther with Nextech Wireless. Right now, get an iPhone 16 Pro and an Apple Watch 10 on us. That's right, on us. Nextech Wireless, connecting Kansans.
Convenience just got an upgrade. Farmers State Bank of Oakley is excited to announce the opening of our brand new ATM along Highway 40, right next to Sonic Drive-In. Whether you're grabbing a snack or on the go, you can quickly access your cash without the detour. It's banking made easy, right where you need it. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4! It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
If you want to win in football, it all starts up front. Mass kicks ass.
The High Plains only local sports talk show.
Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting live on Rocket 102.5 and streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Covering it all from the preps.
Up ahead to Blair Lennon. Lennon, the crossover, back to Cure. Hello, boom! A two-handed tomahawk flush.
To the pros.
Shotgun snap to Nix. Protection is good. Bold loads it up. He's got it. A receiver there. Franklin makes the catch in the end zone. Touchdown, Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with the Insurance Agency, the Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Swinging a high fly ball. He get underneath this one. A drive to right, and that ball is gone. A grand slam. Deep out to right center field. Does he get enough of it? Yes! Number 33, Cal Raleigh.
In the air to center field. Merrill going back towards the wall. He leaps in. Merrill makes the catch in center field. Oh, that's Jackson Merrill and a little Merrill madness.
It's Tuesday morning. It's July the 1st, and this is the Morning Blitz. Glad you're with us here on Goodland's Rocket 1025 or NWKSradio.net. Or great to see you on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on YouTube, X, and Facebook. No matter which way you are listening, we appreciate you doing so. Like I said, the month of July has begun here in 2025. June went by in a snap. It is gone, and we are moving on to July. We are at the midpoint of the summer. I think it's kind of the best way I would describe it. And we got a full show ahead here today on this Tuesday morning. Going to be a warm one today. Temperatures that were in the low 80s yesterday are going to sneak into the low 90s here today. Right now, a warm and sunny 65 throughout the Tri-Plains. And like I said, this is going to be kind of the typical temperatures, I believe, for the next 3 to 4 days. Temperatures in the upper 80s to the low 90s with not a ton of precipitation chances, it looks like, here up on the high plains, but we'll see. You never know. Always something seems to pop up at some point in time. Today's program, we got a lot to get to today. One of my favorite guests to join the program of all time, Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Kansas State Wildcats, is going to stop by the program coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. We've got lots to get to as today is a massive day in college sports. It is July 1st. And that means that universities who opted into the House versus the NCAA agreement can now pay student athletes. And so it's a huge day for that. We're going to talk with Wyatt Thompson about that. We'll talk to him about lots of other topics, probably including some K-State football as they get set for Media Days coming up here later this month. That's right. Media Days for college football will be here probably starting next week. I don't know this for a fact. I would just estimate that starting next week, we're going to see it all get rolling with SEC Media Days and the Big 12 and the Big 10, all that stuff happening here over the month of July. And then we're into August, and camp is going to start. And before you know it, we're going to be there, August 22nd, 23rd, and we're going to be talking about Kansas State going over to take on Iowa State in Ireland to kick off the college football season. So we got that is very quickly approaching. And so once again, Wyatt Thompson going to join us for segment 2. Segment 3, we'll squeeze in some news about the NBA. Yesterday, a very busy day with player movement as I think the free agency window has opened and the Nuggets making some moves. We'll get to that in segment 3. But I want to get the show going here today. We're just a skosh, not a lot, but we're just a little bit past the halfway point of the Major League Baseball season. And so Major League Baseball is at the midway point, and I think it would be fun to hand out some mid-season awards and some grades. And so we will hand out mid-season awards and mid-season grades for Major League Baseball. So that will include, MVPs for the AL and the NL, Cy Young for the AL as well as the NL. We will talk AL and NL Rookie of the Year, Manager of the AL and NL of the Year to this point in time, and we'll hand out Silver Slugger Awards for the AL and NL as well. So we're going to get to all that here in segment number 1. So Ross's Major League Baseball Midseason Awards and grades. That's what we're going to do right here. And then we'll wrap it up giving out our grades for the Royals and the Rockies through the first half of the season. We'll get to all that coming up here in this first segment. So, as always, the FNB Bank text line is open at 785-899-2222. If you'd like to be part of the Morning Blitz, would love to hear from you and get your thoughts on any of these grades or these selections. Already listener Jared already given the Rockies a wonderful grade, if you can already imagine what that is. But nonetheless, let's move on. Let's get rolling here with our midseason grades. We're going to start with MVPs, most valuable player in the American League. And this one I think could be to an extent a toss-up, yet at the same time, I feel like it is based upon, and it just kind of depends on how each person looks at it. I guess I'm looking at it not only statistically, but to an extent, kind of where your team is in the standings, kind of what is your record? Where do you stand with that? How good is that team because of it? I think there's two players for probably the American League MVP. One of them is Cal Raleigh, the big dumper for the Seattle Mariners, who once again had a huge game last night against the Royals as they beat Kansas City last night 6-2. He had a couple of RBIs and had another home run. He has 33 home runs and I think 71 RBIs, which does lead the major leagues in both those statistical categories, this Cal Raleigh. But I think I'm going to actually probably go with Aaron Judge. I think Aaron Judge is probably the MVP. When you look up and down the batting leaders in the American League, Aaron Judge is either at the top or near the top. Aaron Judge leads. I think he leads not the major leagues. I think he is. Yes, he does. He leads the major leagues in batting average at 354, a ridiculous number. He is second in home runs to only Cal Raleigh. He has 30 in the American League. In runs batted in, he has 67 RBIs. That is 4 behind Cal Raleigh. But he's the leader in hits with 110. So he is in 4 of the 5 major categories of hitting. So batting, so that would be batting average, home runs, RBIs, hits. So the 4 major hitting categories, they do throw in stolen bases as well. But he's not in the top 5, but he's in the top 5 of those other 4. So I think if you ask me, I think Aaron Judge is probably your AL MVP at this point in time, the midpoint of the season. 110 hits, 67 RBIs, 30 home runs, and a 354 batting average. He's a top 2 in every category. Top 2 at least, which is so impressive. So I'm going to give the tip of the cap to him and the edge to him over Cal Raleigh. Raleigh strikes out a little bit more. His average isn't as good. Give it to Aaron Judge, our American League MVP. And to think about Aaron Judge, I remember when he was playing for Fresno State baseball at the CWS. He was a Fresno State outfielder, not very well known, a very big guy, obviously. And tell you, for a big guy to be able to put all that stuff in motion, be that good a hitter average-wise is so impressive. But Aaron Judge, your American League MVP, I believe, here at the midpoint of the season. On to the National League for the National League MVP, which, by the way, the numbers in the American League are way better than in the National League. And I don't know this for a fact. It would just be my guess. I believe the National League is a little bit more competitive and a little bit more evened out across the entire league. I just think there's more competitive teams in the National League than there are in the American League. Not saying there's not good teams in the American League, because there are some good teams. I just feel like there is a bigger depth of good teams in the National League this season. And I am giving my NL MVP to Pete Crow Armstrong of the Chicago Cubs. Pete Crow Armstrong is having himself a really good season. He is second in the major leagues in stolen bases with 25. He is also, if I'm not mistaken, he is one of the top I'm going to make sure I get this out. I think he is one of the top RBI guys at this point in time is Pete Crow Armstrong. He's like in the top 10. I'm going to double check that. Make sure I'm right on that. So he is 9th in RBIs with 62. He's second in stolen bases, and he is 8th in home runs with 21, is the scrawny but yet very powerful Pete Crow Armstrong, the out center fielder for the Chicago Cubs. I don't know if the Cubs would be where they are without Pete Crow Armstrong. Don't get me wrong. They've had great performances from Suzuki and Kyle Tucker that have made them have a really good season for the Cubbies at this point in time. And I love visiting with Cubby fans who's like, don't worry, we're going to fall apart here. Just don't wait. But I don't know. Pete Crow Armstrong has developed into this really, really good player for the Cubbies. And so I'm going to give him the NL MVP at this point in time. I really do. The NL MVP for Pete Crow Armstrong. For that. Okay, moving on. AL Cy Young. So best pitcher in the American League. I think it's a 2-horse race. Personally, I think it comes down to Garrett Crochet of the Boston Red Sox and then Tariq Skubal. And I think it's Skubal that's got it won. I'm going to give my vote to him. He leads the major leagues in wins. He has 10 of them, tied with Max Fried. Skubal has the fourth best ERA, earned run average, at 2.15. Very, very good. Fourth best ERA. And Skubal second in the league in strikeouts with 138, only behind Garrett Crochet, who's got 144. Crochet, by the way, has some pretty good numbers as well when it comes to ERA and stuff, but he's just not in the same boat as the previously mentioned Tariq Skubal. So I think Skubal's the guy. 138 Ks, 2.15 earned run average. He just looks unhittable, and he's got 10 wins. He's leading a lot of the categories across the American League, and so I think he deserves that win. You know, he actually leads the major leagues in wins. His ER, he is, like I said, second in all of baseball in wins. So second all baseball. He's second all baseball in strikeouts, I should say. So having a really good season. Garrett Crochet giving him a run for money, but I'm going to go with Tariq Skubal as the AL Cy Young winner at the midpoint of the season. Talking MLB midseason awards and grades. And once again, if you want to chime in with your thoughts, the FE Bank text line is open at 785-899-2222. Moving on to the NL Cy Young. And once again, the numbers I think are a little bit more inflated in the National League because I think it's a more difficult league through and through. So the numbers are not as good. But I think it's going to go, at least in my book, there's two guys that I think stand out the most. One is Zach Wheeler of the Phillies. Another one is Logan Webb of the Giants. Logan Webb and Zach Wheeler lead the National League in quality starts. Webb with 14, Wheeler with 13. Wheeler is the number one strikeout man in the National League with 136. Logan Webb is at 127. He is third at this point in time. Wheeler has the second best ERA in the National League with a 2.27. Webb not far behind at 2.61. He is tied for fourth. And Wheeler is tied for number one in wins in the National League. So I think it's Zach Wheeler. He is in all the categories: wins, earned run average, strikeouts, and quality starts. He's in the top 5 in all of that. And actually, honestly, in the top 3 in all of that. So, top 2 in every single category of starting pitching there for the National League. So I'm going with Zach Wheeler as the National League Cy Young winner at the midpoint of the season. Just his numbers show it. Logan Webb has had a great year, but I think Wheeler's just having a better year there for the Phillies. All right, Rookie of the Year. Guys you may not know. Well, I think it's pretty easy in the American League at this point in time. I think there's a clear leader in the American League when it comes to Rookie of the Year, and that would be the Athletics' Jacob Wilson. The shortstop for them has a .339 batting average. That is the second in Major League Baseball with that .339 average. Only behind Aaron Judge is Jacob Wilson. So he's really hitting the ball very, very well. His other numbers are not great, but to come up into the bigs as a rookie and hit .339 is very impressive. And I just don't think anybody else is I don't know. I just don't think anybody else is really in kind of that same in that same category at this point in time. I feel like I think his teammate, I was trying to think, I think, is it AJ? I'm trying to think of what his teammate is there for the Athletics. I can't think of his name right now. Maybe it's Nick Kurtz. Maybe that's who that is. Is that the guy I'm thinking of? But he might be another one. But I think pretty much it's a runaway for Rookie of the Year for Wilson at this point in time. Jacob Wilson, once again, a .339 batting average, second in the American League. The National League, a little bit more interesting. Not really anybody has stood out a ton in the National League, Rookie of the Year wise. One of them has been Atlanta catcher Drake Baldwin. He's been a really consistent guy behind the plate. He's hit okay at this point in time, but I think he's probably one of them's in the race. And it's too early to tell, but honestly, the numbers, if I should say, and it's a massive if he can stay on this trend, there's a good chance he could win NL Rookie of the Year, and that would be Jacob Mizorowski, the young pitcher for the Brewers. I mean, he has just come up into the leagues. He's 3-0 in 3 starts. He's just got filthy stuff, just plain filthy. And if he continues on that trend, could see him winning National League Rookie of the Year. He's been unbelievable. So I think Drake Baldwin and or Jacob Misiorowski from Milwaukee. Baldwin's done it a little bit longer, so that's why he might lead right now, but Misiorowski could probably surpass him if he continues on the trend that he's on. It's been an amazing first couple of starts for Jacob Misiorowski, the Brewers right-hander. A couple more here on my MLB midseason awards and grades. Going into the managers now. I think there's 2 that lead in the American League at this point in time. And I tried to look through the list and see, is there anybody that's really lifting up their team, and helping their team maybe to a level that they weren't expected to. I'm not going to say that this team wasn't expected to do a lot. They had good pieces back from team was decent last year, but AJ Hinch of Detroit probably is your leader in the clubhouse for AL Manager of the Year. I mean, the Tigers have been so good this season. They are a major league best 50-32. They lead I always thought a decent Central, at least when the season began. It's really turned into not a decent league, but they lead the Central by 11.5 games. But I think the Detroit Tigers with that 53-32 record are, and AJ Hinch probably your manager of the year. You could maybe throw in a vote or 2 for Jose, I think it's Espada. Make sure I say that name. Espada, excuse me. The manager for the Houston Astros. I don't know if the Astros were picked to win the West. The Mariners certainly were a piece. I think the Astros probably were the better team out of all of those, but they've played very, very well, particularly as of late. So I give them a lot of credit. You know who else you could also probably give MLB manager at the midway point? I guess I don't know why I didn't think of this guy in the first time, but Kevin Cash. Kevin Cash probably deserves that. He is the manager for the Tampa Bay Rays. Actually, I think I'm going to actually change my vote. I think it is going to go to Kevin Cash. I mean, for the Tampa Bay Rays, who are playing in a minor league stadium, so not really playing at home, they weren't predicted to have much. It's the typical Rays deal. If you could name me 2 or 3 Tampa Bay Rays, I'll give you $5 because I think it would be very, very hard to do so. If you could name a few of the Rays. Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lau, Jonathan Aranda. There's not many guys that you're going to look up and down this lineup and be like, yeah, I know that guy. No, you're not. You're not going to know him. So Kevin Cash, once again, with the situations going on with their home stadium, having to play somewhere else, and still finding a way to just be a game and a half back in the American League East, I think it's Kevin Cash. He has been really, really good. Really good in that American League. So I think Kevin Cash probably your AL Manager of the Year to this point in time. And final manager, NL Manager of the Year. Once again, same thing, just kind of looking up and down. I've got to go probably with Craig Counsell. I didn't expect the Cubs to be leading the NL Central. I didn't know who might be leading it, maybe the Brewers, maybe the Cardinals, but the Cubs are having a really good year. 49-35 is a really good record. I don't think anybody, the National League West has got a lot of great teams with a lot of, maybe you want to throw Melvin in there at San Diego. I don't even know if it's Melvin anymore, but or the Giants' manager possibly. But I think it's Craig Counsell coming from Milwaukee, going to the Cubs. They've had a really good season this year, so my vote's going to be for Craig Counsell, NL Manager of the Year to this point in time. All right, and we will wrap up our grading here on, at least in the AL and NL, with the Silver Slugger Awards. So probably you're considered one of your better hitters in the league. Since that MVP, AL MVP, went to Aaron Judge, I am putting the Silver Slugger in the hands of Cal Raleigh. What he is doing at this point in time is ridiculous. He's having some unbelievable season. Once again, leading the major leagues with 33 home runs. He's on pace for 65 or 66. And then he's got also a major league leading 71 RBI. So he is cashing in with runs batted in when he gets hits and home runs. So the big dumper, I'm giving him the Silver Slugger Award. And the Silver Slugger Award for the NL, I'm going to go with the shortstop for the Philadelphia Phillies in Trey Turner. That's right. I'm going to go to him at this point in time. Trey's having a really solid season. He's batting .295, which is the 5th best average there on the season. He's leading the league in hits with 101 hits. And he's also, by the way, got 20 stolen bags. That's top 5 in the National League. So Trey Turner, my silver slugger of the year at this point in time. So there you go. Awards for midseason MLB at this point in time. We're at the midway point of the Major League Baseball season. If you want to know, by the way, that your leaders currently, Yankees in the East, Tigers in the Central, and Astros in the West in the American, your National League leaders, Philadelphia, Chicago, and the Dodgers, the LA Dodgers leading there. The wild card there is interesting. You've got Tampa Bay, Toronto, and Seattle leading in the American League, with the Angels, Red Sox, and Guardians and Rangers all within 3.5 games. The National League, the Mets and the Brewers and the Cardinals all sitting in the playoffs right now. The Padres a game back, the Giants a game and a half, the Reds 2.5, the Diamondbacks 4 back. Those are kind of the teams that are at least in the hunt at this point in time, at the midway point of the 2025 Major League Baseball season. And real quickly, regional grades for the Royals and the Rockies for the midway point. Jared, already on the FB Bank text line, said he gave the Rockies an F. I'm actually not going to give them an F. I'm going to give them a D- is what I'm going to give the Rockies. And the reason why is because of what we've seen here over the last couple of weeks and the growth of some younger players. You know, Jordan Beck getting out there, and Michael Tolia coming back up from AAA, as Dan Lucero described it, eating that New Mexican green chili that gets him fired up. And Chase Dolander's looked pretty good. The young pieces that the Rockies have showed some promise, and that's why I give them a D-. We knew it was going to be a rough year. They didn't make any moves during the offseason to try and better the roster. They knew they were going to probably take their lump, so they're kind of right where we thought they were. D-. Not a failure, but really close for the Rockies, a D-. And then Royals, C- at this point in time. C- for the Royals. It could be a D+. The reason that I think it pulled it out of a D is because of the pitching. The pitching has just been so good for Kansas City. They have given their offense ample amount of opportunities to win games this year, but the offense just has no. If you've got like a D-, a D- to an F offense, to be honest with you, and then you get like an A to A-, you just kind of come back in the middle, and C- is where I've got them. I think that's the Royals grade. Their pitching has been great. I mean, Estevez is a top 2 closer in the American League with his 22 saves. He's been great. The starters have been great for the most part. Bubic has been unbelievable. Everything has been so good for the Royals pitching staff. Offensively, though, stink. They hope that Jack Hegland will come up and help him out. He really has, and he's batting about 150. A lot of guys cannot hit the ball with runners in scoring position. That's a horrific stat to be bad at. So, yeah, I think the Royals probably a C-. And an interesting stat, too, before we get to break here on the Royals. I got to pull this up here real quick. I put it on my phone. I hate it when I do this, but I should have been more prepared, but I'm not. Worst record in baseball since May the 9th. Worst record in baseball since May the 9th. The Rockies still the leader in the clubhouse with a 13-33 record. The Athletics are behind the Rockies with a 15-33 record. The Royals are the 3rd worst baseball team since May 9th. 15-30 at this point in time. So the Rockies and the Royals, 2 of the worst baseball teams here in the year of 2025 since May 9th. Been rough going for the Royals and for the Rockies. We expected it from the Rockies. We did not expect it to be this bad for the Royals. There you go. Our MLB midseason awards and grades here on this Tuesday morning. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Wyatt Thompson, the play-by-play voice on the K-State Sports Network for the Wildcat football and men's basketball teams. We'll get to his thoughts on all different types of topics. He joins us next. You're listening to the Morning Blitz here on July the 1st.
Summer deals are heating up at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Right now, get up to $7,000 off a brand new 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Pro, or choose 0% APR for 36 months plus no payments for 90 days on select 25 Sierra 1500s. Need more muscle? Drive off in a 25 Sierra 3500 with 3.9% APR for 48 months, or grab $2,750 select market purchase allowance. GMC Professional Grade. These offers won't last. Swing by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today, online at hurlchev.com.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today's Tuesday, July 1st. On the overnights last night, July corn lower 5 cents at 4.15 1/2. September down 6 3/4 at 4.02 1/2. December down 7 1/2 at 4.18. March corn down 6 3/4 at 4.34 1/4. July soybeans lower 8 3/4 on the overnights at 10.15 1/2. August down 10 1/4 at 10.19 1/2. September down 8 1/2 at 10.09 3/4. November down 9 3/4 at 10.17 1/4. Chicago wheat July contract lower 1/4 cent at 5.28 1/2. September up 4 3/4 at 5.43. December up 3 1/2 at 5.63 1/2. March up 2 3/4 at 5.82. Kansas City wheat July contract unchanged at 5.06. September up 1 1/2 at 5.28 1/4. December up 1 1/4 at 5.51 1/4. March up 1 at 5.72 1/2. On the stock market this morning, the Dow down $43 at 44,348. The S&P down 19 at 6,234. NASDAQ down 96 at 22,797. Gold higher $60 an ounce at 3,367. Crude oil up 78 cents a barrel at $65.89. If you have any questions about marketing grain, would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Sludo, Jared Ball, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades. Contact Maya Butler at bugfreegrains.com to learn more.
Miss the weekend action?
Yes, you caught me.
No worries. We've got all the highlights and lowlights covered.
Hey, okay, well, catch me up.
This is the Morning Blitz with Russ Volkmer.
8:37 Central, 7:37 Mountain here on Tuesday, July the 1st. It's a humongous day in college athletics today. July the 1st means the teams and programs and the schools that opted into the House versus the NCAA can now officially pay athletes. And that's one of the big topics I want to get into with our guest of the day. He's one of my favorites to have on the show. Voice of the Kansas State Wildcats, former Goodlander himself, Wyatt Thompson. Good morning, sir. How are we doing today?
I'm good. How are you, buddy? Good to talk to you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mentioned, today's a big day. The college athletics landscape is absolutely taking a massive change. I'm curious where you kind of stand on it.
Well, there's probably several ways to look at this, but what I have been saying to, fans of K-State or fans of the Big 12, this settlement is the start. Where the finish line is and what it looks like, I don't know that any of us really know that, right? But I think it most of the people that I've talked to that are either coaches, athletic directors, athletic administrators, those type of people feel like this needed to happen for a base moving forward. Meaning rev share, as you say, paying players. Most of these Power 4 programs will probably pay of that $20 to $20.5 million, somewhere around 75 to 80% football, and then it goes down from there with men's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball, baseball, and then whatever else is thrown into the mix. So you can see that football is still the cash cow, so to speak. I think the biggest concern for me moving forward is how do the collectives who have been working for the last few years here, where do they come into the mix now, and what is their role? Because it's certainly going to be different.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, just think about it from an athletic director standpoint. You have a humongous budget that you've got to manage every single year, and whether that's, paying for, equipment, facility upgrades, whatever it may be. And now you've got to take of that budget, which I'm sure was already stretched pretty thin most years. And now you're going to have a 20.5 hole that you got to fill if you're going to try and do this. Now, once again, it's optional. You don't have to do it, but I think if you want to be able to compete, you're probably going to have to do something close to it.
Well, it's perfectly said, because I think all of us at the Power 4 believe that whether in this first year you get to 20 or not, and I'm not sure that K-State or KU or schools like that will or won't. I think they'll be close. But you have to remember, two things. One, that 20.5 is for this upcoming sports season. In the next handful of years with this start of the new regime, that's going to go up 3 to 4% every year. And let's just pretend for a second that your athletic budget is $100 million. Okay. As of today, July 1st, 2025, you have a new line item in your budget where you are trying to come up with, snap of the fingers or whatever you want to say, with $20.5 million. And there's no real added revenue to help that. It's all going to have to come from different sources. So it's a start. I think it's problematic, certainly to a degree. Are we going to make it work long term? I certainly hope so. But you want to try to be positive going into it, because now I think what this settlement has done is I don't know if reining it back in is the right way to say it, or pulling the reins back on the horse. But now what I'm hopeful of, to be blunt, is that the days of, AJ Dybantz at BYU making $8 million for 9 months is over. I am all for the athletes making as much money as they can, but that's a little out of the scope of reality, in my opinion. And I think we need to indeed, pull the reins back on the horse. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I have to do that.
Yeah, Wyatt, I've been underneath the belief, and once again, this can't happen because you need to have the players, and this is the next step. You got to have, the players represented. Why am I missing the key word here? I forget what they call that, but like a players union. They have to have their players need to have their representation.
Collective bargaining.
Thank you. That's what it is. Thank you. Collective bargaining.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen in order for this to happen. But I have been under the belief for a long time, if we're going to pay players, I think there needs to be caps. Like if you're a freshman, you can't make more than $50,000, for an example. Mm-hmm. And then if you're there at the same school, you can make $100,000 as a sophomore. And then maybe as a junior, you can make $1 million or something more. You can, those numbers are just thrown out there for fun. But that's my point, is that you cap it at a certain amount, because if you and me started any job in America and it's our first ever job, we're not making multi-millions of dollars. You're going to have to work your way up and prove your worth. That's the problem. You see a bunch of kids go in there as freshmen getting multiple $1 million, like the young man at BYU. Who knows how good he's going to be? It's all a projection. So that's what I would agree on that.
It's like the Patterson kid at Kansas. I mean, he's many say he'll be the number 1 pick in next June's NBA draft. So he's going to be there for 8 or 9 months, but he's going to leave a millionaire. I'm not against that necessarily, but I have to be honest and say I don't know that I think they need to be making $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 million for 9 months. What that does in my mind is it puts these schools, athletic departments at risk of losing things that I think are pretty important, like other sports and opportunities for young people to be scholarshiped in whether it's men's golf, women's tennis, rowing, whatever it might be. I think at the Power 4 level, you are going to see some programs drop these types of sports. I don't know that there's any way around it necessarily, and I think that's harsh. The other thing I'll say is that this, again, like I said in the beginning, this is just the start. And people will remember July 1 of 2025 because that's where we're at right now. And what's it going to look like a year from now, or 5 or 10 years from now? I'm hoping it's going to be a lot different and there's more normalcy to it, because what we're doing now is not normal. It's just not.
No, it's not. Like you said, it's only just the starting point. Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Kansas State Wildcats football and men's basketball, joining us here on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline on this Tuesday morning. You mentioned it, cutting sports could be a big deal. I think also the thing that you could see is you could see some sports in some schools become real powerhouses, like the Big East in basketball could become really, really good because there's not a lot of big time football programs, or the SEC could pull away even further in baseball. Or if you were just, let's just say Kansas State's like, we want to have a really good baseball program. They could put a lot of money towards that and make it really good. I think that's one thing that you could see is other programs come out of the woodwork and be really good because of the money that could be spent with them, because it's up to the university to do that.
Well, let's use Texas Tech as an example, okay? Because I'm sure you have read some of the articles that have been written. They basically have 2 donors now in their donor base that are billionaires. And the projection is, as K-State as an example, or KU tries to get to $20 million to pay athletes for 25-26, the projection is in their sports, they're going to pay roughly $55 million in year 1. Do you see anything fair in that?
No.
I do not.
No.
I mean, there's nothing fair about that. And I understand that we live in a world where we all want perfection, but there is no such thing. I get all of that. But again, we all live by guardrails and rules to a degree. I just think that if college athletics as we know it now is going to survive, I don't know that this is the right path. I just don't.
Wyatt, I wanted to get one more on this topic and then we'll change a little bit, but I want to get one more on this. Where do you think Kansas State sits when it comes to this? Because some programs are going to have the $20.5 million to spend it. Some are not. I'm not saying Kansas State is or isn't. How do you think they're positioned as we go into this? We know that NIL has been good for Kansas State, but how do you think the department is positioned to take on this financial burden?
It's a great question, and I appreciate you asking. And there will be some people that will listen to my answer and agree with me, and there will be some that may not. And what I would tell you is I think first and foremost, you have to have, like any other business, a solid footing with leadership and direction and all of those kind of things. I think K-State has that. Whether they get to 20.5 this first year or not, I think they will be in the neighborhood, which means that they will compete. And I think that's all that they're really hopeful of in this first year, because, again, trying to raise that kind of money, I mean, the settlement was done in June, and here we are the 1st of July starting this thing. It's not like this happened the settlement was on June 1st of 2024, and you have, 12, 13 months to ratchet it up and go, right? I mean, you're talking less than a month. So, but with that said, I think K-State is in a league that is finally on solid ground in terms of membership, in terms of equality. I mean, just you may disagree with this too, but I'm just going to say I felt like it was a stinger to lose Oklahoma and Texas, but they dominated the league because of their brand. And I think now everybody is on, 50-50 footing, and nobody is bowing down to Oklahoma and Texas like they did before. Again, some people will agree with that, some will not. I think the Big 12 in previous leadership kind of bent down to Texas and the Longhorn Network, which in reality hurt the Big 12 over the long haul. So there are a lot of factors, that go into these kind of things. But I am fearful moving forward of lawsuits because I think there will be more. I think people will start squalling about Title IX at some point. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. But from the K-State perspective, to go back and try to finish off the thought on your question, we have good leadership here. We've got a good foundation. We've got good facilities. We've got good coaches. We've got good teams. Perfect? No, but good to kind of hang in there at this particular point. And that's what you want to do. Continue to strive and survive.
Wyatt Thompson, voice of the K-State Wildcats, joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline this Tuesday morning. You mentioned at the Title IX, we had a texter chime in about that as well. I mean, that's going to be a huge thing. And I think one way that they're looking about getting around this is, what is it? Big corporations buy, it's like K-State football presented by, whatever it is, State Farm Insurance,
Yeah.
And so that kind of eludes Title IX, which I think would be ridiculous, but I think it's on the horizon.
Well, I think you're starting to see corporate America be a part of college athletics more than ever before. And I understand it because
they need money.
I'm quite a bit older than you, but I didn't think I'd live long enough to see Quick Trip insignias on Royals jerseys and things like that. But we're seeing it in football, we're seeing it in basketball, we're seeing it in hockey and those types of things. And I think you're going to see it not only on patches on football uniforms and basketball uniforms, but you're going to see it on, field turf at these stadiums and signage in Bramlage Coliseum and other arenas across the country. That's part of how this thing is going to work. And I think with television revenue, with corporate sponsorships, you've already seen the Big 12 and the Big 10 sign a deal with PayPal. Those types of things, people are, because of the climate that we're working in, trying to think outside the box to generate more revenue to somehow, some way make that $20 million into more than that and continuing to grow and expand as we move forward.
Wyatt Thompson continue to be our guest here on the More. Okay, let's change gears. I want to get into actual sports. And news came down a couple days ago that the Big 12 is going to go away with the preseason poll, and do like what the Big 10 is. And you kind of touched on this a little bit with the Texas-Oklahoma comment, but I think this is actually a very good move by the Big 12 because it doesn't it doesn't just automatically put another team or two ahead of everybody else. So in the case of what happened with Arizona State last year, they were picked to last, they finished first. That made the rest of the league look not very good. So now you kind of just set everybody at an even playing field to start, and let's see where the chips fall.
Yeah, and I can certainly see that side of it. There are other people that say, I'm going to miss it. And Arizona State's the perfect example, to be honest with you, Bud, because they were picked for last and won the league. That in itself is a monster story. And you saw that what they did. They did not just win the league. They came within an eyelash of, being in the Final Four or the national championship game. I think that's a good thing for college athletics. I think what I hope goes moving forward, I don't know that the Big 12 or the ACC is ever going to be able to match the Big 10 and the SEC money-wise. But you got to be at least close enough that you can at least compete, right? I mean, are we really going to have the same? We lost a baseball player this spring in the portal to LSU because of money, right? And a really good player. I think that will continue, right? And you can't blame the kids for taking the money and the opportunity. It's not their fault, right? It's just what this has turned out to be. Whether people like myself saying this or not, this has become pay for play. It's professional sports, just differently done because there is, right, what we talked about a while ago. There's an agreement, but it's not as good as collective bargaining, right? It's just not.
No,
so let's not pretend it's the same because it isn't.
No, you're right. Like I said, but I do think, once again, going back to if let's just say Arizona, if there wasn't a preseason poll, that might have helped Arizona State be a little bit higher in the rankings, which might have put them a better spot against an easier opponent in the playoff. 100%. Maybe. Yeah. There's no guarantee on that. I think it's fascinating. I think preseason polls, and honestly, preseason rankings, as fun as they are for you and me to talk about, and we love them about that, If you're looking at it from a coach's or a player's perspective, you're always going to look and say, well, the SEC's had the best football for the last 13 years, so they ought to just have, 6 of the top 10 teams. Well, we really don't know that. And like you said just minutes ago, teams change more than they ever did. My guess is you've spent time getting ready for this upcoming season already. And my guess is when you go through and make your boards for each game, you almost have to scrap and start over because there's so much player movement amongst the teams that you cover week in and week out.
Do that. Let me give you an example here, okay? I'm just looking at the predicted order of finish in Athlon, the college football magazine of the Big 12. And 1 through 6 is Kansas State, Arizona State, Texas Tech, Iowa State, Baylor, and BYU. There's not a TCU in there. There's not a Utah or a Kansas in that top 6. And yet I guarantee you they feel like they're going to be in the race.
Oh, yeah.
So we're talking about, for the most part, pretty razor thin margin of error there. How big is the K-State Iowa State game in Dublin as an example in just getting off onto the right foot?
Massive.
Because and some of the other games that you'll see down the road. I mean, the September 6th game. Are you not anxious for Kansas at Mizzou to see how the Jayhawks do there?
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Or SMU at TCU. SMU last year was really good. We're gonna, you know what I mean? I'm like what you said a moment ago was really cool because let's turn and talk about football and sports now, as opposed to NIL, transfer portal, and the house settlement.
Well, I mean,
because it's dominated, and the best part about the new season coming is that is what people are going to talk about now, and that's what this is supposed to be.
Well,
in my opinion.
Well, it is. And honest to goodness, if you ask most fans of college athletics, they say, because of the seasons, the regular season and the playoffs, that makes up for all the baloney that happens, outside of it during the off season.
Yeah. It's not perfect. And I don't want to give people a cloudy look. There are a lot of great things about college athletics. I work here every day of my life. I've seen in the last 23 years the young people that have come through here and know what some of them are doing now. And to me, that's the mission that needs to get more emphasis, and that's not happening now. I hope that does change over time, because I mean, you think about, and I don't want to start naming names, but think about some of the young people that have gone through here and some of the things they've done and what they're doing now. And it isn't just K-State; it's every school at the Power Four, or even the Group of Five, whatever. This should be about those young people and the legacy that they leave at their particular schools, whether it's a Colin Klein or a Jacob Pullen or whoever it might be. That's what's great about it.
Yeah. Okay, I've got 60 seconds. I just want to we've got the Big 12 football media days coming up here July 8th and 9th in Frisco at the Star. What are you hoping to learn, whether it's about K-State or about another program? What are you most fascinated to learn?
That's a great question. And in 60 seconds, so it's a little bit hard to answer.
know, sorry.
But one thing, no, it's all good. I always like to be there and talk to the kids more than the coaches. I'm in on all the coaches and their pressers, but in those breakout sessions, you get to talk to a Jalen Daniels, or you get to talk to a Rocco Becht or an Avery Johnson and what they're thinking. It gives you a lot better sense and feel of what they are or what they potentially could be. They're going to be optimistic, there's no doubt, but it's you learn from them, trust me.
Well, I hope we'll have another conversation after Big 12 football media days to hear what you actually learned. We'll have to do that, but we're up against the clock.
Sounds good.
Not a surprise. I knew we could go for a while. Wyatt Thompson, voice of K-State football and men's basketball. Thanks, Wyatt, for the time. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of the week and a happy 4th of July to you and the family.
Same to you, my friend. I appreciate it, buddy. Good talking to you.
Yes, absolutely. Great stuff there with Wyatt Thompson here on the Morning Blitz. Okay, we're going to get to a break. Come back, wrap up the show in just a moment. You're listening to the Morning Blitz.
And it's time for a harvest safety tip. When driving and seeing farm machinery pass with
are heating up at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Right now, get up to $7,000 off a brand new 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Pro. Or choose 0% APR for 36 months plus no payments for 90 days on select 25 Sierra 1500s. Need more muscle? Drive off in a 25 Sierra 3500 with 3.9% APR for 48 months, or grab $2,750 select market purchase allowance. GMC, professional grade. These offers won't last. Swing by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today, online at hurlchev.com.
Spring is in full swing at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Get your lawn and garden looking their best with ultimate fertilizer and gear up with eco blowers and mowers for the season ahead. Tackling a project, they've got a surplus of quality lumber ready for all your building needs. And when the work's done, fire up the fun with their wide selection of grills, smokers, and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Stop by Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring projects, big and small.
And back lifts his ball high and deep to right. How about a walk-off Brady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
All right, went long with Wyatt Thompson. Almost knew we would. But real quickly here in the walk-off, the Nuggets making some big-time moves yesterday. They traded Michael Porter Jr. away to the Brooklyn Nets, and in return, they will receive Cam Johnson, former North Carolina Tar Heel, 6'8", 210. He's a sharp shooter, has shot, let's see, in his career, 39% from three. So a cheaper option, creating some more cap space for the day more moves, which they did bring back Bruce Brown Jr. for a one-year deal as well, did the Nuggets yesterday. Also in basketball news, last year was a great year for a guy for my generation. We grew up playing video games and we loved college football, and to see college football 25 come back and now 26 are coming up there, it's all very exciting. Yesterday, a bit of a tease from EA Sports saying they're bringing back EA Sports College Basketball in 2028. Get me excited again. Now we don't have to wait till 2030 when college baseball gets back. Awesome. Can't wait. Love. Absolutely love it. Just like we love that conversation with Wyatt Thompson. You missed any of that? It was fantastic. You'll want to go back and listen to that on the podcast. Another reminder, folks, programming note, no shows the rest of the week. I am out, so no shows Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're back on Monday to kick off a full week on July the 7th. With that being said, have a fun but a safe 4th of July. Don't need any blown off extremities from fireworks, anything like that. So have caution, have fun, and we'll talk to you on this coming Monday. Have a great 4th of July. It's been the Blitz. Thanks for listening.
Classic rock plays here. This is Rocket 102.5, KKCI, Goodland, Burlington, Colby, and online at nwksradio.net.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The Senate